In this class, we are going to solve some examples based upon basic electrical engineering. Let's consider first example here is to find out the Thevenin equivalent resistance and Thevenin equivalent circuit of the given network. In this case, we are having a one source only, and across terminal A and B we have to find out Thevenin equivalent resistance and Thevenin equivalent network of this given network. Now, according to Thevenin's theorem, first of all, we have to find out RTH. RTH is nothing but the Thevenin equivalent resistance of this network. To find out RTH, then remove all the sources and replace them by internal resistance. Now, internal resistance of current source is infinity, and hence the equivalent circuit after removing the source, this network can be redrawn as it will become open terminal A and terminal B. This is 5 ohm, this is 4 ohm. When we are viewing this network from here, these two 5 ohm and 4 ohm are in series, and hence by observation only we can say RTH is equal to 4 plus 5, which is equals to 9 ohms. Now to find out the VTH across terminal A and B. Now in this circuit, when terminal A and B are open, VTH is nothing but open circuit voltage across terminal A and B, VAB. Now this is to find out VAB. Here R1 R1 is having some current because it creates a loop in this circuit. However, this path for R2 is open circuited, and hence there is no voltage drop in R2. Then VAB will be equals to the voltage across this R1 resistance. The voltage across this R1 resistance will be equal to the product of this current and this resistance, and hence we can say the voltage across this resistance when the current source is connected here will be 5 into 5 into 10 is equal to 50 volt, and this is nothing the voltage across terminal A and B. Because there is no voltage drop across this for this resistance, the voltage drop is only across this resistance, then we can directly calculate the voltage as 50 volt, and this is equals to VTH, and hence the equivalent circuit for this particular network, Thevenin equivalent circuit for this particular network can be drawn as terminal across terminal A and B. This is 9 ohm and this is 50 volt. This is Thevenin equivalent network. Now considering the second example, in second example we have to find out the no voltage across resistance RL using nodal analysis. In this network, from by the observation, we can say all these elements are connected at one point, and hence this is a one node, and all these elements are connected at another point, this is the another node. And though one node is taken as reference and it is already given here, let it is considered node A. At the voltage at this node A is VA. Applying the concept of nodal analysis, let me consider current in each branch. Here it is I1, here it is I2, here it is I3, and this current is taken as I4. This is I1, this is I2, this is I3, this is already given as IL. Apply the concept of nodal analysis at node A. The sum of current will be equal to IL, and hence I1 plus I2 plus I3 is equal to IL according to KCL. Now finding this value of I1 will be equals to 10 minus I1 is equal to 10 minus VA upon 5. I2 will be equals to, current is flowing upward, it will be equals to minus of 16 plus VA upon 4. Now the current in this circuit is I3. I3 will be equals to, that is 8 minus VA upon 2, and IL will be equals to, IL is equal to VA minus 0 divided by 3. Now in this case the current is flowing in this direction, it means this is higher potential, this is lower potential, this is this voltage minus में this voltage will give the potential drop across this resistance. Similarly here the polarity of the source is opposite to this polarity of this E1, and hence the whereas direction of current taken upward, then the sign of this potential will become minus, the source will become minus, then it is minus 16 plus VA divided by 4. And similarly in this case the polarity is plus and this is VA, we are subtracting this 8 minus VA and divided by 2 will gives I3. Similarly in the last element, that IL is equal to VA minus 0, because current direction of current is taken downward, it means VA is considered higher potential, this is at lower potential. Now putting all these value in equation first, then and simplifying, this will be 10 minus VA upon 5 plus minus of 16 plus VA upon 4 plus 8 minus VA upon 2 is equal to VA divided by 3. Now on simplification of this network, we can take an LCM, that will be 20, and it is equals to 40 minus 4 VA plus or minus of 56, then plus of 5 VA, then plus 80 and minus 10 VA upon 20 is equal to VA by 3. Now further simplifying this network, this is 80. Then further simplifying this network will give minus of 19 VA plus 40 is equal to 20 VA by 3, and this will be minus of 57 VA plus 120 is equal to 20 VA, and on simplification VA is equal to 120 divided by 77 is equal to 1.558 volt, and this is the answer, because the voltage across this particular resistance VL is nothing the voltage with respect to this node and this node, and which is equals to VL. Now considering another example, in this network we have to apply the concept of source transformation. Here we have to calculate the current through RL, and RL is given as 6.8 kilo ohm. Let all these here it can be observed that this resistance is 2 kilo ohm, this resistance is 4.7, whereas this resistance is 8.2 kilo ohm. Now considering the same network, in this network first of all we have to apply the concept of source transformation. Let me convert this current source into a voltage source. While converting any current source into a voltage source, first of all we have to separate out that particular element, that particular source, and the direction of current is upward. In this case the current is 10 milliampere, whereas the resistance is 2 kilo ohm. To find out the voltage equivalent circuit across terminal A and B, we have to take product of these two, because this is the voltage across the A and B when total current is flowing through this resistance. It will be 20 volt, and hence a resistance, and then this source can be represented as equivalent to 20 volt, because 10 milli into 2k, milli to k will be cancelled out, this will be cancelled out, and hence it will be 20 volt. The source magnitude is 20 volt because the current was flowing upward, and it is taken plus and minus accordingly. This will be 2k. Even the internal resistance is never going to be changed while we are converting the source. Similarly, for this particular source, this can be converted equivalent to voltage source, and taking out this source across terminal A and B. Here it is the current source. This resistance, parallel resistance, is the internal resistance of this source. This is the magnitude of this current source is 8 milliampere, and where this resistance is 4.7 ohm. Now considering the same network, this can be represented equivalent to 8 milliampere into 4.7, then it will be the voltage, the voltage will be for this network, the voltage while converting, this is plus, this is minus, this voltage across this element, it will be given as the product of these two, and which is equals to 0.0376 volt, and the resistance will remain same, that is 4.7 ohm across terminal A and B. This is terminal A and B for this network A and B. Similarly, considering the third element, in this case we are having a current source in parallel with the internal resistance LED across terminal A and B. Then it can be represented as product of these two. Here it is 4 milli, this is 8.2 k, then k2 milli will be cancelled out, then the magnitude of this voltage source will be 32.8 volt, and internal resistance will remain same, that is 8.2 k. Then this will be the equivalent resistance. This will be the equivalent network across terminal A and B when this current source is converted into voltage source. Now replacing all the three conversions 1, 2 and 3 in the original network. Then original network can be redrawn as, this is voltage source, and in resistance is 2k, this is 20 volt plus minus. Then the equivalent representation of this network is, this is the source, and internal resistance is 4.7 only ohms, not kilo. Here it is, this is plus, this is minus, this resistance is 6.8 kilo ohm, this is connected here only, this is 6.8 kilo. Then the source conversion of this network is, there is a resistance and a voltage source, this is plus, this is minus, this is 8.2 k, this is the magnitude of this source is 0.0376 volt. Now This is now a single loop. In this single loop, we can apply the concept of KVL. Let's consider current in this loop is I. Then applying the KVL, apply KVL, then it will be starting from here minus of 2k, then minus of, because current direction is taken, this is plus, this is minus, this is plus, this will be minus, this is plus, this is minus, this is plus, this is minus, according to the direction we considered here. 2k into my I, in this voltage drop across this element, 2k into my I, then minus of 4.7 into my I, then the source voltage, we are moving from higher to lower, it will be minus of 0.0376, then moving from higher to lower, minus of 6.8k, 8k into my I, k here means kilo, in 6.8 into 10 to power 3, then minus 8.2k into my I, then minus 32.8, because this source is 32.8 volt, then plus plus 20, then moving from further from for this element, that this is a source, this moving, we are from moving from lower to higher, then it will be plus is equal to 0. Rearrange this equation. For I, it will be equals to minus of 2.85, 2.8376 divided by 17004.7, and which is equals to minus of 0.7549 milliampere. Since we have to find out the current only through resistance RL, the current through resistance is this, and since because the direction of current is considered clockwise, however the final sign is negative, and hence we can say in the original network current is flowing in opposite to the direction we considered, and hence the current in 6.8 ohm resistance is nothing but equal to the magnitude of this I is equal to magnitude of 0.7549 milliampere of this quantity. This is answer. Now considering the another network, in this network there is a dependent source. Now for this dependent source, this network, in this network there is one node is this, another node is this, and hence one node is taken as reference if this is solved by nodal analysis. This can also be solved by the generalized concept. Here we are considering initial value of the the value of source is 2 v naught, and the v naught is the voltage across this 10 ohm resistance. Now let's consider the current in this branch is V naught. V naught is the direction of current with considering the direction of current in this branch, it is this one according to the given potential, and hence the current at this junction we can apply KCL. According to KCL, the current is upward, this current is in this direction, and this current is coming in this direction, and hence we can say V naught in this, the voltage drop across this resistance is V naught, which is equals to 10 into my I. Let's consider current in this path is I, and which is equals to what? Which is equals to sum of these two current. Why? Because applying KCL at this node, it will be I plus 25 plus 2 V naught is equal to 0, and here V naught is equal to 10 of I, 10 of I, because we can analyze this network. In this case, I will be given for the given network 10 of I, then I is equal to 25 plus 2 V naught minus. Putting this value in this equation, then V naught will be equals to 10 of minus of, then it will be minus 25 plus 2 V naught. Rearrange this equation for V naught, then it will be minus of 250 minus of 20 V naught, and hence V naught will be equals to minus of 250 upon 21, which is equals to minus of 11.905 volt. And that's what we have to find out in this circuit. Whatever the direction of current we have considered, the potential across the 10 ohm resistance found to be opposite to the given value, and hence this is 11.905 if magnitude is considered, and if it is plus, and if this is minus. Now this same problem can be solved by using nodal analysis as well. Considering nodal analysis, I is equal to 25 plus 2 V naught at this junction, because we consider the direction of current I is equal to outgoing. If we are considering the direction opposite to the given one, let this is the direction of, now we are considering here the another network. This is the, this is, in this case, if we are considering the potential across this network as, let's consider this current is I inflowing in this direction. This is 25 ampere, this is 2 V naught. The direction of these two currents is already defined, whereas the direction of this current we have assumed that it across 10 ohm resistance. This is 10 ohm resistance. Now applying the KCL at this junction, then I will be equal to sum of these two currents, and hence I is equal to 25 plus 2 V naught. Now applying the, find out I naught. Consider this node voltage is VA, and this is a reference, and with respect to reference, the I can be defined as VA minus 0 divided by sum of these two resistance in this path. It will be 20 is equal to 25 plus 2 V naught. Then we know V naught is equal to what? V naught is the voltage across this one. When this is plus, this is minus, V naught will be equals to minus of 10 I in this case, when depending upon the direction of current we have considered. Now in this, putting the value of V naught in this equation, then it can be written as VA upon 20 is equal to 25 plus 2 into my 10 I minus of this value, and this will be equals to 25 minus of 20 VA this is I'm putting the value of I in this equation. I is equal to, that is my I is equal to VA upon 20. Further putting this value I is equal to divide by 20, and 20 will be cancelled out. Then we will be having a resultant equation is VA upon 20 is equal to 25 minus VA, and rearrange this equation, it will give 21 VA is equal to 500, and VA is equal to 500 divided by 21, which is equals to 23.8 volt. Now I is equal to I in this circuit, then putting the value of VA in this equation, From here we can find out I is equal to VA upon 20. VA is 23.8 divided by 20. This is 1.1905 ampere. Then we need to find out the voltage across this element, that V naught is equal to 10 into 1.1905. Putting all these values, this value will be 11.905 volt, and this is the answer. Since it comes to be positive here, it means whatever the direction of current we have considered, the potential will be that value only. If we want to find out according to the given potential, here plus minus, then it will become minus of this quantity. Now considering the another example, this example is based upon state of the switch when transients in RL circuit is supposed to be find out. Now in this case, initially the state of the switch was closed, and at t is equal to 0 we are making the switch off. It means when the switch was closed and circuit was at steady state, the initial condition, the initial value of current can be defined. Here I naught will be equals to, at I naught initial value of current, because inductor behave like a short circuit at DC supply when subjected to a long time, then we can say I naught will be equals to, in this circuit, 10 divided by 2. This circuit, when this switch was closed, this circuit, this 3 ohm resistance was behaving like a short circuit, and hence at the initial value of the source is just like that. The initial state of this network, it can be defined as in this way. This is 2 ohm, this is 10 volt, plus minus. Inductor behave like a short circuit for DC, and hence it is shorted. Since though this switch was initially closed, and hence this 3 ohm resistance was shorted, and hence we can find out the current in the initial state, that is 10 divided by 2, 5 ampere. Now finding the when switch is open. Now at this moment, then switch is open. At that moment, when switch become open, then the current will start flowing this inductor, and this initial value of the current in this inductor will be 0. When finally under the steady state operation, initial value of current is 5 ampere, and t is equal to 0 minus, at t is equal to 0 minus. Now when we are considering t is equal to 0 plus, then the switch is closed, and when switch is opened, with the open state of the switch, then this resistance will comes into role, whereas the inductor is connected in this circuit. When the switch is open, the initial current in this inductor was 5 ohm, but the final current t tends to infinity. If t tends to infinity, the inductor behave like a short circuit. Then we can say I infinity of this circuit is equal to 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2 ampere. Why it is 2 ampere? At t tends to infinity, the network will be just like that. Knowing the initial and final value of current through an inductor, this is 2 ohm, this is 3 ohm, and inductor at the steady state operation will behave like a short circuit, and hence at t is equal to infinity, the circuit will be, equivalent circuit will be this. Now we are knowing the initial value of current, we are knowing the final value of current, and the time constant of this circuit is t is equal to L by R. Now finding the L by R, the R is R equivalent. R equivalent of this circuit is when all the sources are removed from the circuit, then the internal resistance of voltage source is 0, and it is creating a short circuit. Then we are having two resistance, 2 ohm and 3 ohm across inductor. Now the equivalent resistance of this network R equivalent is 5 ohm, whereas inductor equivalent resistance of this network is 1 by 3 Henry. Therefore T of this network will become 1 by 3 into में R is 5, that is into में 5 is equal to 1 by 15. Now applying the concept of initial and final value, we know I of t is equal to I of infinity plus I of 0 initial value minus I of infinity final value of current e to power minus of t upon capital T. Therefore, initial value final value of current is given as 2 ampere, 2 plus initial value of current was 5 ampere, this is 5 minus of 2 initial value of current e to power minus t upon capital T is 1 by 15, that is 1 by 15. Then the equivalent equation will be 2 plus 3 e to power minus of 15t, and this is the expression for current developed in an inductor in the given circuit when t is greater than 0. Now considering another example, in this case they calculate the magnetomotive force, that is mmf, which is nothing but equals to Ni required to produce a flux. Phi is given to us 0.015 Weber. Ni we are supposed to find out across the air gap having a 2.5 mm length. Then we can say Lg, length of air gap, is 2.5 mm. Having the effective area A is given for air gap is 200 centimeter square. Now, by the definition, we know reluctance is equal to L upon mu A. Whether it is air gap or the iron path, the definition of reluctance will remain same, because here we are considering only the air gap, and hence the reluctance of air gap is considered, the length of air gap is considered, area of air gap is considered. In case of air gap, mu is equal to mu naught only, because in case of air gap, mu r is equal to 1. Mu is equal to mu naught 4 pi into 10 to power minus 7. Putting the value over here, s, we can find out s is equal to length of air gap is 2.5 into 10 to power minus 3 divided by 4 pi into 10 to power minus 7 into area 200 into 10 to power minus 4, converting it into meters. Then the resultant value of S will 9947 ampere turns per Weber, 1.84. Now by the definition, we know mmf is equal to Ni is equal to S phi. S is, we calculated, phi is given to us, then we can calculate n phi, which is equals to 99471.84 into 0.015, and that is equals to 1492.08 ampere turns. This is answer. This is the case when there is only air gap is given. If some iron path is also given, then in that case, suppose we are supposed to find out the air gap or ampere turns of this path when we are having the iron. This part is iron piece, this is the air gap. Now we need to find out Si and Sg separately. If there are only one path, there may be another path, then accordingly we have to find out S1, S2 and S3 and so on. And air gap in this case will remain, the effective area of air gap will remain the area of this iron piece is. Now however, whatever the flux developed in this iron piece, the same flux will passing through it, ignoring the concept of fringing. Then it doesn't matter how many iron paths are there, and and then what is the flux given, the concept will remain same. We have to find out mmf. Mmf is equal to Ni is equal to S into m5. Now considering the another example based upon series RLC circuit, in this case a capacitor of 8.0 microfarad takes a current of 1 ampere when alternating voltage applied across it. Now, drawing the circuit, equivalent circuit of this capacitor, there is a capacitor, some voltage source is applied which is AC in this circuit. The current flowing in this circuit is given as 1 ampere where when this capacitor is 8 microfarad. Now, capacitor magnitude is given, capacitance is given where the applied voltage is 230 volt, and hence by the definition we know xc, the voltage across this capacitor is vc is equal to I into my xc. We know vc applied voltage is given, the current flowing the capacitor is given, we can calculate xc is equal to vc upon I. Then vc is 230 volt divided by I is given as 1, and hence xc is equal to 230 ohm for this particular circuit, and this xc is nothing but equals to 1 by j omega c. For capacitive circuit we are knowing this is omega c. Now knowing this value from here, xc is 230, omega is the supply depending upon the supply frequency, and here the omega can be find out. Then in this equation we know 230 is equal to 1 by omega c. C is known to us, then we can calculate omega. Omega is equal to 1 by 230 into my capacitor. Capacitor is 8 microfarad minus 6, which is equals to 543.47 radian per second. Now we are knowing the omega value of omega, then we can find out frequency in this circuit. We know by the definition for first part frequency applied of the applied voltage, omega is equal to 2 pi f. We are knowing omega magnitude of omega is 543.47 is equal to 2 pi into f. Then f will be equals to 543.47 divided by 2 pi, and which is equals to 86.497 hertz. Now knowing the value of this frequency, in the second part of this question, the resistance is to be connected in series with the capacitor to reduce the current in the circuit to zero point 0.5 ampere. And now we are having new circuit when this capacitor is connected in series of a resistance in such a value that the when the applied voltage is 230, the now new current will start flowing in this current which is 0.5 ampere. The capacitor will remain same 8 microfarad. Now resistance is R. We don't know what is the value of this resistance is. In RC circuit we know Z is equal to R minus J XC, and here Z is equal to V by I of the circuit. V is 230 volt whereas I is 0.5, and hence from here we can find out what is the value of Z is, that it will be 460 ohm. Now applying this concept, which is equals to R square plus XC square under root XC, we are knowing that is 230 ohm, R is unknown to us, Z is 460, then we can find out R here. R will be equals to Z square minus XC square under root. Putting all these values, then we can find out R will be equals to 398.37 ohm. Here Z is equal to that, Z is 460 square minus 230 square under root, which is nothing but equals to this value, and this is answer. It means if we are connecting a resistance of nearly 400 ohm in series with this capacitor of 8 microfarad, the current flowing in the circuit will reduce from 1 ampere to zero point 0.5 ampere. Now, considering the another example, in case of this given network, a circuit having a resistance of 4 ohm, inductance of zero point 0.5 Henry, and a variable capacitance in series is connected across 100 volt 50 hertz. Now let us draw the circuit of the given statement. This is resistor, inductor and capacitor. This applied voltage is 100 volt and the supply frequency is 50 hertz. Here it is 100 volt. The resistance is 4 ohm. Inductance is zero point 0.5 Henry and capacitance is variable. We need to find out capacitance in this case. Now, calculate the capacitance to the given resonance. Given resonance, we know what is resonance. Resonance is the condition when XL of the circuit becomes equal to XC. Here the inductance is given to us and hence we can say at resonant frequency XL is equal to XC and XL is nothing but 2 pi FL is equal to 1 by 2 pi FC. The frequency here given as 50 Hertz and hence putting the value of frequency here over here we can find out the value of XC. XC will be equal to this component, that is 2 pi. This is 2 pi into my frequency is 50 and inductance is zero point 0.5 and this is nothing but equal to this value and that is XC, which is equals to 157.08 ohm. Now knowing the value of XC, putting equal to this value, we can find out C over here. Then C will be equals to 1 divided by 157.08 into may 2 pi into may 50. Just rearrange these two equations. C can be calculated as, then the value of this C will be equals to 20.26 microfarad. This is the first concept. The second part of this problem is voltage across the inductance and capacitor. Since we are knowing the circuit capacitance of this circuit, inductance of the circuit, then X of the circuit will be XL minus XC or XC minus XL, depending if XL is greater than XC or XC is greater than XL. We are knowing the XL and XC. We can find out XL and XC. XC is equal to, because this is the condition of at the resonance, and here in this case, here in this case this is the resonant condition and hence Z is equal to R only, because the plus minus J X, this component is 0 because XL is equal to XC and hence Z is equal to R. Then I of the circuit will be V by Z and the V is given to us 100 volt. 100 volt divided by Z. Z is 4. The current flowing in this circuit is 25 ampere. In this circuit, the current will flow 25 ampere. Knowing the current in the circuit, then we can calculate voltage across inductor and voltage across capacitor. VL is equal to I into my XL and Vc is equal to I into my Xc. Because XL and Xc is equal in this given circuit at the given frequency 50 Hertz and hence VL is equal to I into my XL 25 into my 157.08. This gives us the value is, this is 3927 volt. Similarly, when we have to find out voltage across capacitor 25 into my 157.08, which is equals to 3927 volt in both the cases, and this is the answer of second part of this question. Now Another question is drive the relationship between line and phase voltage and between line and phase current in three phase star connected system. Now, in case of star connected system, let we know what is the star connection. Let's consider a star connection. In case of this given network star connected system, let us draw star network first. Now the current flowing in this circuit is IL because this is a line R, Y and B. This is a particular phase. The current in this phase is IP. This is Z1, this is Z2, this is let Z3. The voltage across this particular phase with respect to neutral, that is Vp. The current in this particular phase is Ip. The line current is IL. Since the path for IL and Ip is same, and hence we can say for star connected system, star connections, IL must equal to Ip. This is one of the relationship. Now we have to find out the relationship between VL. VL is nothing but the voltage between two lines, and which is the phasor sum of voltage across Z1 and voltage across Z3. In this case, by the definition we know this is a three-phase system, and a three-phase system, let us draw a phasor diagram of using voltage vector. This is VR, the voltage is Vy, this phasor is Vb, and these phasors are displaced by 120 degree. We know the potential between these two point R and Y is the potential difference of these two voltages, and hence Y phase is reversed. Reversing this Y phase, it will be minus of Vy. The resultant, the phasor sum of Vr and Vy will be nothing but the voltage. This is VL, that is also known as Vry. This voltage is Vry, and although this total angle was 60, but this angle is now 30 degree. The total angle is 60 degree. Here this is a vector for Vr, this is a vector for Vy. Applying the concept of parallelogram law of forces, here we can find out the phasor sum of these two quantity. Phasor difference is the special case of phasor sum of the quantity, and hence Vry can be written as Vr square plus minus of Vy square minus of 2 Vr minus Vy into make cos of 60 degree and taking under root of this function. On simplification, we know in balanced system, if the system is balanced, then we say Vr is equal to Vy is equal to Vb is equal to Vp. Putting this value over here, then Vry, which is nothing but equals to VL, is equal to Vp square plus Vp square plus 2 Vp into में 1/2 under root, and hence 2 will be cancelled out. It will be 3 Vp square under root and simplification under root Vp, and hence we can say VL is equal to root 3 times of Vp in case of star connection. Now considering one more example, if here we have to derive the relationship for EMF equation of a transformer and then find out the phasor diagram of transformer. Though the type of load is not given here, we can consider resistance, resistive, we can consider inductive, we can consider capacitive load, or there may be a RL load, RC load. This is now choice is ours, though it is not mentioned over here which type of load is to be considered. Now first we have to find out the EMF equation of transformer. A transformer is what? Transformer is a static device which can transfer electrical energy from one circuit to another circuit. This is there are two circuits. Here voltage V1 and here voltage is V2. When because the supply is AC, there will be self-induced EMF E1 and self-induced EMF E2. By the definition, we know the flux developed in the primary in this winding where we are supply is connected, this flux will link with the secondary as well. Because the supply is AC, then flux variation in flux will be also sinusoidal, phi m sine of omega t. By the definition, we know E is equal to minus of n d phi by dt. Putting the value of phi over here, then it will be minus of d upon dt phi m sine of omega t. Differentiating this function, this differentiation will give us the resultant value of minus of n omega phi m cos of omega t. This cos of omega t is converted into sine of function, which is equals to n omega, this is omega phi m, which is sine of omega t minus pi by 2, and hence we can say the EMF developed in this coil due to the flux linking, which is sinusoidal, it lags by an angle of pi by 2. Here we can say, if we are comparing this equation with standard, is we know by the definition E is equal to Em sine of omega t minus pi by 2. This is a standard equation when considering the phase angle, and hence we can say Em is equal to nothing but n omega phi m. Putting the value of omega here, it will be n, omega is 2 pi f into phi m. Though it is the maximum value, to find out E RMS, which is equals to Em by root 2, that is equals to it will be n into 2 pi into f phi m divided by root 2, will gives us the resultant value of 4.44 phi m, maximum value of flux f into n. This is the EMF equation of transformer. Now considering the second part, in case of second part, we know transformer, if we can draw the equivalent diagram of transformer, then it will be looks like that. Considering no load parameters, applied voltage is V1, the current in this part is I naught, this is IW, this is IM, this is RC, this is XM. Now this is the primary winding, and this is core, this is secondary winding. In secondary winding we are having a resistance and inductance. In primary winding we are having a resistance and inductance. This is R1, this is L1 or X1 considering the reactance. This is R2, this is X2. Here it is applied voltage V1, here it is V2. The EMF developed in secondary is E2, the EMF developed in primary is E1. By the definition, we know EMF developed in primary or secondary winding lags the flux by an angle of pi by 2. Let's consider flux is taken as reference, that is phi m. The EMF developed in primary, it is E1. The EMF developed in secondary, it is E2. Because both the EMF are due to flux, common flux, and hence both will be lagging by an angle of pi by 2 to the given flux. We know in the primary side there are no load current. Even when there is no load connected across the transformer, the current will flow in the primary, and that current is no load current. It has two components, IW and IM. IM is the component of the current which is responsible for the development of flux and hence taken in phase with the flux. IW is the current which is causing loss in the transformer, and hence it will be a resistive loss, and which will be at 90 degree with IM. The resultant of this IM and IW is nothing but I naught. This is up to here. This is a no load phasor diagram of a transformer, of no load transformer. Now when the load is connected across the transformer secondary side, then there will be some extra current will flowing, let it is I2, and with this I2 the current in this winding will start flowing extra current, that is counterbalance current I1 dash, and hence we can say here I naught is the phasor sum of IW and IM. This is phasor sum, whereas I1 is the phasor sum of I naught plus I1 dash. And I1 dash is what? I1 dash is the current when load is connected in the secondary, this secondary current will start flowing. In counter of that secondary current, extra current will start flowing in the primary side, and hence when the load is connected in the secondary, the current I2 will flow, and in counter of this flux, this current, extra current will flow in the primary side. That current is I1 dash, and phasor sum of I0 and I1 dash is nothing but the no load, the primary current, and this current will be I1 total in the primary side. Now in case of primary side, there are two voltage drop, a voltage drop across resistance R1, a voltage drop across reactance X1, and hence the voltage drop in resistance will be given by the in phase with the I1 dash. If this is the phasor of I1 dash and this is the phasor of E1, by the definition we know V1 is equal to E1 plus I1 R1 plus I1 X1, the phasor of this sum quantity. Because applied voltage is E1, this is approximate equivalent circuit, the total voltage will appear across these three elements. R1, this is inductor, capacitor, this is inductor and resistance. Let's redraw this circuit clearly. This is, here we are having a resistance and inductor. In secondary, this is R1, this is X1. The voltage drop across this R1, voltage drop across this X1, and the EMF developed in this winding will be the given applied voltage, and hence this is a phasor sum of this. And in the secondary side, since EMF E2 is developed and then we are getting V2, then we can say V2 is equal to E2 minus I2 R2 minus I2 X2 as a phasor. Now considering these three voltages in primary and three voltages in secondary, we can find out V1. In this case, if voltage drop due to in this resistance R due to I1 dash, it will be in same phase with I1. Same phase here means these two lines will be in parallel. This is nothing but I1 dash R1. The voltage drop in reactance R X1 due to I1 dash, it will be at 90 degree with this resistive drop. This will be I1 dash X1, and hence meeting this value with the this point with the origin, this will be V1. This function is this now this vector is minus of E1. This vector is E1 is reversed. With the reversing of this E1, we can add these two vectors. In E1, this is E1, this is IW, this vector is IW, will remain same, and this E1 will be just opposite to the this E1 vector. Now it will be minus of E1. E1, as we already know, phasor sum and phasor difference are both are same, whereas the phasor difference is the special case of phasor sum, and hence this vector is reversed over here. Then we have to find out V2. In case of secondary side, E2 is known to us. If we can subtract these two voltage drop from E2, we can find out V2. This voltage drop in this resistive circuit, it will be in same phase with I2. Since we have to subtract this value, the vector is taken in opposite direction. This vector will be I2 R2. Now the voltage drop in inductive reactive part, that will be at 90 degree with this phase given phasor, and hence this is I2 X2. Because it is at 90 degree, then we have to take a J notation. Meeting this point with the origin, then this is V2. This is the equivalent phasor diagram of transformer when load is considered inductive, that is RL load.